Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching TopTenzNet, and in the video today, the top 10 bizarre solutions to serious problems. Blue sky thinking, taking a creative approach. The business world is full of appreciative lingo for people who can deliver innovative solutions to serious problems. Sometimes such crazy pie-in-the-sky ideas really do work. More frequently, though, they're simply just crazy. In the video today, we're looking at 10 times countries and companies have abandoned common sense in the face of serious issues. Problem number 10. Australia is worried about climate change. The crazy solution: shoot 1 million camels. Climate change is one of the biggest issues of our time. Plenty of people are rightly worried that we can't cut back on our carbon consumption quick enough to stop a climate apocalypse. But whereas most scientists are talking about using tech to save our asses, Australia has come up with a better solution. The government wants to shoot 1 million camels from a helicopter. It's a rarely discussed aspect of climate change, but a huge amount of it is caused by large mammals farting. And we're absolutely serious here. Every camel on Earth releases 100 pounds of methane every year, which is the equivalent to 2,500 pounds of carbon dioxide in terms of atmospheric change. Since Australia is overrun with camels in 2011, the government seriously considered a mass culling of the beasts to combat global warming. Incredibly, scientists thought the basic plan was a good idea. However, they did point out that Australians would be better off shooting their 20 million cows. Turns out the average bovine farts more than the average camel. Problem number 9. South Korea's crazy suicide rate. The crazy solution: hold mass funerals for people who are still alive. South Korea's suicide rate is absolutely nuts. An insane work culture combined with family pressure and a bad attitude toward older people means that just about everyone is at risk of killing themselves. In 2015, some companies decided to do something about the death rate among their employees, by which we mean they organized mass funerals where workers were interred in caskets and forced to listen to speeches about their untimely passing. The idea is a little bit like It's a Wonderful Life. The employees play dead for an afternoon and get to eavesdrop on their own funerals, hopefully finding out how much better the world is with them in it. Oddly enough, this really seems to have actually worked. The Guardian quoted a guy who said the experience of lying in a coffin had made him realize he needed to spend more time with his family. Problem number 8. Starvation in North Korea. The crazy solution: open shops selling human poo. Hop across the border to North Korea and you find one of the nastiest, bleakest places on Earth. Since the 1990s, huge swaths of the population have been consistently on the brink of starvation. Those lucky enough to own a scrap of land have taken to growing their own vegetables to subsidize their breadline existence. There's only one problem though. Fertilizer is extremely hard to come by in North Korea. And what was the solution that enterprising locals came up with? Well, they opened shops selling human poop. In 2011, defectors to South Korea reported that one of the hottest items on the North Korean black market was human poo. A bag of the stuff changed hands for staggering amounts of money, as it allowed a better crop yield. Sadly, on a North Korean diet, it's almost impossible to generate enough poop on your own. This is why poop shops, which pay people to do the pooping for them, popped up. It sounds crazy and quite gross, but when your choices are pay for man poop or starve to death, we're going to guess that 100% of you would pick poop every time. Problem number 7. Japanese women are stressed at work. The crazy solution: hire hunks with tissues to gently wipe away their tears. Japan's conservative society isn't exactly female-friendly. While women are respected in public, they're still expected to stay at home pooping out babies and barely seeing their friends. In the workplace, things are even worse. The attitude is kinda like America in the Mad Men era, only with less snappy dressing. As a result, the growing cohort of young women who are determined to have careers are finding the macho male work environment super stressful. The Japanese government has even called it a national health problem. Last year, one company came up with a bizarrely sexist solution. Career-focused women can now hire hunky men to come round to their home after work with a box of soft tissues and expertly wipe away the stressed tears from their cheeks. Leaving aside the strangely sexist solution to a sexist problem, the tissue men are proving popular. The company only started in late 2015, and it already has plenty of people on its roster. Part of that may be to do with the price. You can get a full 2 hours of hot guy eye-wiping time for as little as $60. Problem number 6. Russia's crazy low birth rate. The crazy solution: a national sex day and special prizes for women who get knocked up. Russia's birth rate is dangerously low. If Russians don't start getting busy in the sack soon, their country's economy is going to implode under the weight of too many old people. Since 2006, the Kremlin has done plenty of crazy stuff to tackle this crisis, including organizing a hip-hop concert that was meant to feature Putin on stage with Boyz II Men. However, the craziest of all the ideas has to be National Conception Day. Held on September the 12th, couples are given a free day's holiday for the express purpose of going home to breed like rabbits. Any woman who manages to give birth exactly 9 months later will be put forward to win a fabulous award. Previous prizes have included 4x4 Jeeps, an apartment, and a fridge. I guess it kinda sucked to be the winner that year. By some accounts, it has even worked. Russia's birth rate, while still worryingly low, is now climbing higher than it ever has been in previous years. Problem number 5. The US Electoral College makes no sense. The crazy solution? Keep the college, make 50 new states. US politics is clearly mad. Anyone who disagrees with that statement just needs to have a good look at the Electoral College. Thanks to the way the population is spread out, some states wield disproportionate influence. For example, the most populous state has 66 times the population of the smallest, yet only gets 18 times as many votes. This is clearly unfair, and people have been talking about changing it for decades. In 2013, mathematician Neil Freeman came up with a solution that was both practical and utterly crazy. He proposed scrapping the current 50 states and replacing them with 50 new ones that had identical populations. Freeman's proposal went so far that he actually drew up a map for 50 states with a population of 6.175 million each. As you might imagine, it was guaranteed to ruffle some feathers. Alaska and half of Oregon were combined into one single superstate, while New York City was split into two. The entire western US was basically reduced to 3 gigantic states, while the eastern seaboard was split into a crazy patchwork. It's unlikely to ever happen, but bonus points for thinking so far outside of the box that the box itself is just a blip on a barren horizon. Problem number 4. Danish towns are closing underattended schools. The crazy solution? Strike a deal with the government to make as many babies as humanly possible. It's a problem people living in small towns everywhere will recognize. At some point, the child population declines so much that the council decides to simply shut the local school and save some money. In most cases, all you can do is complain, but the citizens of Thisted in Denmark came up with a different plan. They struck a deal with the local government to procreate as quickly as possible and get the demand for school services back up again. The Guardian reported that the town's young couples have had around 5 years to get as many new babies born as possible. If there were enough, the council would keep the schools open and maybe even open some new services. It seems like quite a big ask just to keep a local school running, but hey, there's that famous Danish civic pride for you. Problem number 3. The British royal family are supposedly cruel to animals. The crazy solution? Protest this cruelty by eating a corgi. Fox hunting is the sport of Britain's upper classes. Although hunting with dogs has been illegal since 2004, the sport itself remains wildly popular. There are frequent accusations of cruelty against participants that are sometimes serious. One of the latter came in 2007 when Prince Philip was reported to have beaten a fox to death. The prince was cleared of any wrongdoing, but the message didn't seem to reach animal cruelty activist and performance artist Mark McGowan, who was incensed at the cruelty that he perceived in the royal family's treatment of animals. In order to protest this, apparently he decided to cook and eat a corgi. Corgis are the breed of dog favored by the Queen herself. McGowan evidently wanted to show the royals how it felt to see their favorite animal pointlessly abused. Unsurprisingly, the public took one look at the man protesting animal cruelty by eating an animal and decided to ignore him. Problem number 2. Terrorists might use drones to attack cities. The crazy solution? Set up a task force of death-defying eagles to attack them in mid-air. This solution isn't so much crazy, though it definitely is that as well, as it is plain awesome. Publicly available drones have become a major worry in some countries. Not only is the fear that they might crash into and bring down planes, but it's now thought that terrorists might start using them to launch remote attacks on major cities. Dutch police and London's Met have a solution that's all shades of amazing. They want to train up an elite corps of eagle warriors to patrol the skies and take down unauthorized drones. Mad as it might sound, the plan has already gained some traction. Dutch scientists have proved an eagle can easily destroy a drone without harming itself. Problem number 1. Togo is a repressive dictatorship. The crazy solution? No sex for anyone ever. Togo is a tiny strip of land in Western Africa where human rights are the punchline to a particularly depressing joke. Ruled by a father-son dictator combo for 48 years, its commitment to democracy is non-existent. Rather than start a revolution, Tongolese women recently came up with what might be a winning solution. They decided they would stop having sex until their men got their act together and replaced the government. The sex strike called for the replacement of the president and attempted to capitalize on men's lustful nature and presumed lack of access to porn. It's not a completely unique idea, though. In a once violent Colombian town, women organized a sex strike to stop the killings. The murder rate immediately dropped by 26.5%. As far as Togo is concerned, the results may have been less dramatic. The same autocratic president is still in power following 2015's elections. On the other hand, the EU and African Union claims the election was the most open and transparent in Togo's history, which might just be a win for the sisterhood. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel for brand new videos every day of the week. Also, I've got a podcast. It's called BrainFood, and it's got educational, entertaining content just like this. It's a bit longer form and goes into a lot of depth on a specific subject, getting into all of the fascinating little details. You can check it out through the link in the description below, or just search your favorite podcast app for BrainFood. And if you like this YouTube channel, you are sure to love that podcast. But if you want to watch something else right now, why not check out a related video from the TopTenz archives over there on the right. And as always, thank you for watching.